Hey, I'm Monica B, creator of HeyMonicaB.com, a blooming resource on Ayurveda, and author of In Your Elements, a blooming Ayurvedic guide to creating your best life. I help people understand and practice Ayurveda daily so that they can live their best life. So let me ask you a question. Have you ever felt like not like yourself? Whether it's in your mind or in your physical body, and you're like, geez, I don't know what's going on, but I don't feel like me. Maybe you feel heavy in the body. Maybe you've experienced weight gain or shape change in your body and you can't figure out why. Maybe you're confused with foods you're supposed to be eating, not only in general, but foods for yourself. If you're ever asking yourself that question, like, yeah, I read about all these, chia seeds or kombucha or acai berries online, and I don't know if they're good for me or if I should be eating them. And I'm just really confused. You ever felt that? Or maybe you're riding an emotional roller coaster where you're like, I'm happy one minute, but I'm sad the next. I'm carrying around old baggage and I don't know why. And maybe I'm barking at people and that's not even me. I don't even know who I am right now. Well, good news. I had the same thing happen to me in 2007. I was stressed. I was working too much. I went to the gym a lot. Like, I was always at the gym, but I wasn't really sure how to be eating for myself. And turns out I was eating the wrong things and at the wrong time. And I was done with that. I really wanted change for myself. So I started looking around, but I also didn't want like sleazy marketing stuff. I didn't want to pay money to buy something because overall I also felt like, geez, I should be able to do this myself. And this shouldn't be something that's crazy hard to do. So I actually embarked on a journey with a therapist, life coach, acupuncturist, nutritionist, and energy intuitive. I had a whole army full of people trying to help me with the stuff because I didn't feel like myself. And one day I was looking online and I discovered Ayurveda. And what I saw on there struck my heart so big that I started crying. And 4 days later, I was enrolled in school. And what Ayurveda teaches is it is the science or knowledge of life. And it touched on all those things. It touched on psychology, nutrition, exercise, channels, marma points in our bodies. It was it's a very, very big science, and I've been studying it ever since. I was passionate. I was like, I'm going for it. And so what I would love to teach you today is the 5 things that you can get started on Ayurveda right away. Since starting my blog in 2008, this is the most common question that I get. Like, this is awesome. Where do I start? I don't even know what to do first. And that's great because I can help you with that. I've digested the information. I've practiced it for myself. And I no longer felt like I was on an emotional roller coaster. I knew exactly what to eat for my body. I knew how to exercise for myself. I understood the daily routine. And I understood that the reason why Ayurveda works is because it's unique for the person and it is preventative medicine, essentially. So if we practice Ayurveda daily, we can prevent ourselves from getting sick in the first place. And that really resonated with me. It might be resonating with you too. So without further ado, let's talk about the 5 things that you can do to get started in Ayurveda right away. And don't worry, I'm not going to teach you the whole thing about Ayurveda. That's for another day. I'm just going to give you very tactical, practical things that you can get started with. Number 1 is very simple. It is eat foods from nature. In Ayurveda, it is said that all the way from the great giant universe down to our planet, down to our mountains, our trees, our oceans, the sand, the rocks, the grass, down to our bodies, and way inside our bodies, all the way down to our teeny tiniest cells, there's only 5 things that exist. And that's space, air, fire, water, earth. And with a combination of these 5 things, it creates all matter. Okay? And because of that, when we are in flow with nature, it feels like home. We feel better, we sleep better, we eat better, we have more energy, we're more focused, we feel vibrant, and we feel in our elements. We feel like ourselves, okay? So we start with our food. Food that is close to the source of nature will be close to the nature of us as well. So we can digest that food easily. And we can use that food easily, as opposed to something we buy on the shelf of the store. And you look at the back of the label and it's got all this stuff on it. Anything that's in a box or anything that's processed or packaged is exactly that. It hasn't been picked or plucked, and it's not fresh right from the earth. It has been modified, or it's been changed, or it's been made in a lab. And when we put that in our bodies are like, whoa, hey, what? Some of this is foreign. Like, I don't even know what that is. What are we going to do with this? Oh, we're going to shoot it at the back end. And then you get diarrhea or something like that. Or you gain weight because the body's like, I don't know what to do with this. Shove it in the corner. Like, oh, just put it over there. It's kind of weird. So when we eat foods that come from nature, it is easy for us. We become clear in our mind. We become clear in our digestion. We're able to process the food. And we are able to think clearly and make great choices. We can easily start practicing choosing foods from nature by simply going to farmers markets, and even think about the difference of how you feel at a farmers market. Like, it's kind of like luxury, like farmers market, like you can smell the soil and the sun and the rain and all of those foods. The elements are right there in those foods. You can smell it. You can almost taste it. Your mouth kind of waters, right? But when you're walking down the aisle in the grocery store with the fluorescent lights on and there's boxes all around you, it's not quite the same experience. So even those subtle clues of how much we enjoy a good farmer's market, or somebody that's made this lovely homemade food from their garden. When I was little, we used to have garden salads because my grandmother had a big garden, and that was like, oh, it was the best. I would just be like, is this a garden salad? Everything was from the garden. And we can feel that, right? So practice eating foods from nature as much as you can. If the food comes from some kind of animal product, whether it's cheese, milk, meat, what have you, make sure that you're getting the purest stuff possible and the most raw stuff possible. And by that, I mean, don't get anything that's overly processed. For example, get cheese. Don't get Velveeta. You follow? You get it? Or just the easy cheese in a can. That's not Ayurveda. It's not close to nature. It's very far from nature. Anything with the squeezy tube top and it's food, that's not from nature. So make it easy on your body. Our job is to make decisions that will benefit our body, which will therefore benefit our mind. In Ayurveda, mind, body, spirit are all connected. And the health of one governs the health of the others. They all tie into each other. You can't have one thing that's super healthy and the other ones that are not healthy. They'll all just be not quite optimal, or they'll all shine. So our goal is to make them all shine. Mind, body, spirit. Okay, so that's number one. Eat foods from nature. The second one is have a big lunch. How many of you usually have a chintzy little lunch, or maybe you skip on through lunch, or maybe you just have like a salad or something munchy for lunch? A lot of us do, because we have busy schedules and we're busy racing from one meeting to the next, or we're in the middle of our busy day. How dare they put lunch in there? So back to those elements, space, air, fire, water, and earth. At lunchtime, at noon, the fire in the sky, which is the sun, is right in line with our digestive fire, which is called Agni, and it burns behind our belly button. And in Ayurveda, like increases like, which means when you stack the same stuff on top of each other, it creates more of that. So the two fires are stacked right on top of each other. The only time they're going to be that way all day long. So lunch is a prime time to eat because our digestive fire is ready to eat it. Most of disease is caused by malfunctioning digestive fire. So if we're feeling bad in the mind or body, remember it's all connected, we look at our food and we say, I'm going to eat foods from nature, and I'm going to have my biggest meal at lunch so I can have all day to digest that food. Many of us, if we're having the little lunch, will arrive home later like starving, and we eat a really big dinner. Well, the problem with that is that the sun is no longer big and strong. The sun is now setting or has set. And our digestive fire has gone down accordingly because they follow each other. The digestive fire follows the sun. And so we put a lot of food on a very small digestive fire, and then we go to sleep, which can create a backup of food and make us feel lethargic in the morning. We can gain weight that way. We can feel like we just don't have any energy. And it's just because of a backup of food. So click your clock over a little bit and start to focus on having the biggest meal at lunch. If you can, I recommend cooking a dinner, eating some of that food at dinner, and then taking the rest for lunch and having the big meal at lunch with that food that you made. Simple, you can do that. Cool. So the third thing is, if you're not hungry, don't eat. Remember Agni, that digestive fire I just told you about? Well, when we're done processing all of the food, we feel hungry. So real hunger, true real hunger, is Agni's signal that it's done working and it's ready for more. And if it doesn't signal you that it's hungry, it means it's still working on the food that you just gave it at your last meal. So it needs time to get through that before we can add more. Otherwise, we just add a stockpile of food, which can hamper digestion, which can cause most of our imbalances. Okay, so if you're not hungry, don't eat. And here's a tip. You can go ahead and sip some ginger tea. If you want your ginger tea a little bit sweet, you can add some honey to it. Ginger tea is heating, like increases like. And so it's gonna add a little bit of heat and a little bit of stoking to that fire. So Agni can finish digesting that food so that we can become hungry, okay? Number 4 is move your body every day. Every day for 20 to 30 minutes. If 30 feels, oh, there's no way I can do that, there's no way, then can you do 20? If you can't do 20, then I'm gonna ask you to do 10 and adhere to that. We have to start somewhere in Ayurveda. Slowly we make the changes. If you can't do the full thing, then do the small thing, but make sure you do it and do it every single day. The way we prevent disease from happening is through these daily habits. And I know some of them seem so simple to work. You're like, really? That's all you're gonna tell me? Yes, because my guess is if you think they're too simple to work, you're not practicing them. And if you are practicing them, they might really work for you and you might not feel as off kilter about yourself as you do. So let's start with the simple basics before we go into anything that's too in-depth in Ayurveda, because this is where we start. We start with the roots. So moving our bodies every single day is important because it helps us sweat. And when we sweat out toxins. What else happens when we sweat? Why do we sweat? Because there's heat. And so moving our bodies every single day keeps the digestive fire nice and strong so we can continue to digest our food. So if most of imbalance is caused from malfunctioning Agni, exercise is going to help with that too. I recommend blocking it out on your calendar, getting your sneakers ready, put them in a spot, put your happy little workout clothes or whatever you need to do, or you could even schedule it in the afternoon, take an afternoon break at work and go for a 20 to 30 minute walk. Grab a coworker. If you like the buddy system, you two can go together and get in a really nice walk. In Ayurveda also, exercise is not considered that you have to go to the gym, 45 minutes to an hour, 5 times a week. Ayurveda says do exercise every single day, enough to sweat in your pits and get a little sweat on your nose and a little sweat on your brow. And that's good exercise for the day. And if you're thinking like, it's too simple to work, try it. Are you trying it? Are you exercising already every single day for at least 20 to 30 minutes? I'll tell you, I was recently working with somebody who was like, Monica, I'm so sad. I've gained weight. I don't even know what foods are good for me. I don't have enough time because I've got a family and I've got a demanding job. And we talked about these 5 things, and especially the moving thing. It was after like 3 days. And she's like, I already feel my body changing. I already feel like I have more energy of only 3 days. Same. Make it a habit. Build a routine. Okay. The 5th one is bed by 10 o'clock p.m. And you guys are like, I like to stay up and watch my shows until 11 or 11:30. Well, 10 o'clock is bedtime, and I'll tell you why. In Ayurveda, there's an energy called Pitta, and it's the energy of transformation. At around 10 o'clock p.m., between 2 a.m., is Pitta time. And Pitta's job is to transform our food, thoughts, emotions, everything from the day so that we can process it, and then we wake up and move on to a new day. We start anew. And so if we stay up past that 10 o'clock threshold, our body's going to do all the processing and stuff anyways. We're just going to be awake for it. So then we're going to be like, oh, I have an idea for a project. Oh, that really made me mad today. Oh, I have this strategy about something. Hey, that closet needs cleaning out. And we're going to start doing extra stuff. We're going to feel like we got a second wind. Okay. So anybody who's a night owl out there might be like, but I'm a night owl. I do my best work at night. You do, because Pitta is helping you do that. So the important thing to remember is just because it feels good and just because you get a lot done doesn't mean you're getting the right amount of sleep, and it doesn't mean that you're in flux with nature. People who stay up too late and actually go against nature's clock in this way can end up with anxiety, depression, worry, unfocusedness at work. They can wake up cloudy, heavy, lethargic. They will just have an overall sluggishness to their day, or a complete wiriness, depending on the person. So sleep is absolutely necessary, and we need to restore ourselves. So let me just take a step back. Before 10 o'clock, there's an energy that is called kapha energy. And it starts around sunset and it goes until about 10. And kapha's job is lubrication and structure, which means that the qualities of this energy is heavy, wet, comforting, soothing, very slow. So our job between like sunset and bedtime is to hang out with family, cook a great meal, relax, maybe garden, walk the dog, play games, whatever, downtime. Whatever hobbies that we choose to do is just downtime. So it's not the time to do more work. So that energy will put us to sleep. So how many of you sometimes feel tired at like 8:30 or 9 o'clock and you're like, I can't go to sleep yet, it's so early? It's perfect time to go to sleep. And I know some of you are saying, you know what? I haven't had any time for myself. I just put my kids down to sleep half an hour ago, and now I want some time for myself. So I'm going to stay up extra late or a bit later so that I can get what I need to get done and I can feel like I have some me time. That's totally common and completely understandable. But I guarantee you're going to find more time and space in your day if you get the rest that you need. And there won't be this, maybe grouchiness that you carry or the feeling of I have lack of time. When we get appropriate sleep, it almost feels luxurious. It is like a gift. So Ayurveda says, bed by 10 o'clock. Don't get stuck in the Pitta energy, or you're going to have second wind and you're going to be up far longer than the 10:30 or 11 o'clock that you wanted to stay up. You might have problems falling asleep. In a nutshell, those are the 5 things to get started with right away. What do you think? So we've got eat foods from nature. We've got have a big lunch. We have, if you're not hungry, don't eat. We've got move your body every single day, 30 minutes if you can, 30 minutes. Go for that 30 minutes. And bed by 10 o'clock. And with these 5 things, these are going to start to shift your lifestyle. They're starting to shift your diet. So I would love for you to practice, here's my challenge, 1 or 2 of these this week. Don't practice all 5. Intentionally don't practice all 5, because what happens is when we take on too much stuff at one time, we fail. And then we're like, well, that didn't work. And now I feel like a failure and it's going to be hard. I got to find something else. No, don't do that to yourself. Just try 1 or 2 things and chat it below and let me know what you're going to try. We have a whole community of loving people at HeyMonicaB who are here to cheer you on, who've tried this stuff, who it's working for. These simple changes are like, they will help you change your life. So go ahead and tell us what you're doing. And if you love this, if you love the sound of this and you're like, yeah, we need more of Ayurveda because we all deserve to live authentically for who we are as unique people. And we all need the ability to create our best life. Go ahead and share this with your loved ones and your friends. Ayurveda was shared through the villages 5,000 years ago in India. And it was just by word of mouth. So it would go through families and it would go through villages, and they'd all teach each other the ways to live, the rules of life, the knowledge of life. And so go ahead and do that too. Let's start that community here so that we can bring Ayurveda to the forefront and help people heal and truly live according to their unique individuality. Yeah? All right. I'm excited for you. I want to hear what you're going to try. 1 to 2 things, and that's it. And now go create your best life. Mwah.